Yes, once again, I would love to welcome you to yet another episode of Pesa Talk. Today, we want to just delve into the investor life cycle. We realize that some people find certain investments not appealing to them, but in the background, they do not understand what phase of the investor life cycle they're at. So, not all investments are meant for you in whatever phase you're at. So it's very important for you as a person to know, as an investor, where am I in terms of the investor life cycle and what are the things I should be looking at. So in today's episode, we are looking at the money moves for every stage in terms of the investor life cycle, looking at you from your fast paced 20s to your reflective 60s. So when you're 60, you're reflecting, you're looking at the mistakes you've done, maybe in terms of finance, maybe in terms of life. So we want to start from 20 to the 60s. What are each of those stages? How do we categorize investors in each of those different stages? So the investor life cycle or the investor life cycle has about three phases. Phase number one is between your 20s to your 30s. At this phase, you're trying to accumulate investments. You're trying to accumulate money. You're trying to accumulate wealth. So between your 20s and 30s, the things that you're looking at are the things that are going to take you to the next phase of your investment. So each of these phases have different strategies. The accumulation phase of the investor life cycle really focuses on someone trying to build wealth. So you're investing in places where you're able to build wealth. But what is important is that your risk appetite is high. People who are between 20 to 30s can afford to still make mistakes in terms of the investment decisions they are making. So you will realize that where they choose to invest as an investor may be high risk places. Those will be in spaces of entrepreneurship where you have to be all in. It's because you have the energy. So this is the time for you to be able to make the mistakes in terms of investment. So time is on your side. You have a lot of energy. The earlier you invest into something and it works out, you're able to then earn and consolidate on that into the next phase. So part of the places we are looking at for recommended for you at this phase of your investor life cycle, one of the places are the money market funds. So money market funds, these are your unit trusts. At 20 to 30, you can still put away 100,000, you can afford it, and then also you get to enjoy the benefit of a unit trust, which is the power of compounding. So you keep that money into a money market fund for 10, 15 years, you realize that the power of compounding then gets to multiply it into something that you'd say is sustainable. The second is agribusiness and side hustles. Of course, within your 20s and 30s, you're still able to post your t-shirts, you're still able to sell your shirts to your colleagues at work. So it's easy. It's easy for you to run around making deliveries. So you're able to open up that duka at your place. You're still able to open up that NGSA banking spot at your place and supervise it, because if it doesn't work out, you maybe are doing an 8 to 5 PM job. So if it doesn't work out, it's okay. You still have leeway to consolidate in the next phase. So you're looking at unit trust, you're looking at business or side hustles. The other place also that helps us in that phase build a discipline are circles and investment clubs. So again, a circle and an investment club, and the core reason for you, or why we recommend for you to be able to be in such an investment arrangement, it's really for you to build a discipline. Remember, here we are building a discipline, we are building habits. We're in a space or a phase where we are building habits. So your 20s and 30s, put some money in circles, put some money in investment clubs, and then maybe last for today, you put some money into the NSSF, voluntary savings. You know, NSSF is long-term. So long-term investments, you're looking at you supplementing on what your employer is giving you at your work. So you're building, again, a parallel retirement savings for yourself. So by the time you retire, you actually have the employer, your life worth savings paid out to you at once, and then your voluntary savings. So the thing that we look at here in terms of the tip for that phase is really not for you to perfect what you're doing. We are focusing on growth. We are focusing on consistency. So we're building habits that are going to be consistent, and we are learning from our mistakes. That is phase one. When you go to phase two, you're now consolidating. So there are things that have worked for you under phase one in your 30s and in your 30s and 20s. Now, when you go to your 40s and 50s, you're consolidating, you're doing more of those things to ensure that you've consolidated your investments. So here, you are able to pack you are the peak of your career. You're earning a lot of money, you're maybe an MD, you're a CEO, you're a CFO, so you're making a little bit of cash and you're able to supplement on the investments that you made earlier. So part of the places we look at for you to invest at this phase is then that you should be able to invest in real estate. You're buying property, you're buying land and building rentals, because you know that in the next few years they're going to be giving you some sort of uniform income. The other place you can look at are treasury bills and bonds. So you're committing some money, you have some 30 or 50 billion to put away, you're putting it into a bill or bond, and it's because you're relying on the fact that if you put a bond for 5 years, by the time you're 55, you're retiring, you have some cash flow, you have some money coming in every 6 months. So you can choose to stagger these bonds bills into times that are going to be helping you be very financially liquid in terms of your benefits. So you also, at that point, you have been exposed a little bit into the financial space. Because you're consolidating, you can now invest into moderate risk unit trusts that are called balanced funds. So you're able to put some money into a balanced fund, and balanced funds really have you going to a market that has a bit of bonds and a bit of the money markets. So you go to that phase, you're doing balanced funds. If you started a business in your 30s and 20s, now this is the time for you to do business expansion. Maybe you want to open up an extra branch. Maybe you want to open up, you want to serve a different market, so you expand your business. And at this phase of consolidation, really, the idea is to diversify and not to be very aggressive. You're diversifying, but while also knowing that your appetite for risk is scaling down, so you're able to transform and go into the next stage, which is our third stage. So our third stage is basically, you're looking at a stage that we call deaccumulation or divesting stage. So there you're trying to look at your investment mix. You're reducing on those assets that are very high risk. You want to make sure that you're reducing on your risk appetite. So you're declassifying, you're deaccumulating, you're investing from certain asset classes because of the amount of risk they have. And this period, normally this phase is between your 60s to your 70s. This is the period when you're harvesting your hard-earned cash, your hard-earned or efforts into investments. So at this phase, you're still investing, but you're not investing into things that are going to require a lot of your time to be there. So why is this very important? Because one, you need income for you to be able to have some bit of cash flow in your retirement. So you're going to need income, which you call cash flow. So in case you have some medical bills that you want to take care of, this is a phase when you need that money to be there when you need it, for it to be there for you. So your priorities now shift to healthcare. Your priorities shift to leaving a legacy for your kids, to simplicity. And among the things that we look at here where you can invest, of course, again, you can still keep a bit of your investment into the money market funds, because these ones are easy to liquidate. They are 24 hours away from your bank account. They are still earning you interest. You can talk to your fund manager to pay out your interest on a monthly basis. So they're a good place for people even at that stage. The other places you can look at again is now you can also enjoy your rental income, meaning if you have two or three, 4 units, by the time you retire, NSSF has given you that money, you want to put up more rentals. So when you put up more rentals, those are going to also add onto the amount of money that is coming into your basket at the end of the month. The other is, of course, the treasury bills and bonds. These still remain dear at every stage of investment because of their security. So these ones are secure. They are secure investments, no hassle. You have a stable government. You're giving you money to the government. It's stable. It promises you money every 6 months, and you rest assured this money is going to be coming through for you every 6 months on the bonds. So it's good. Again, here we're focusing on cash flow. The last are now life annuities. So very few players in our market currently, by players I mean life insurance players, are actually offering life annuities, or what you for lack of a better word, the income drawdowns. So you have a chunk of your money, say 100 million, you give it to an insurer, and the insurer amortizes it for you in terms of monthly payouts. Because now here you've left employment, you can no longer hustle, you're old, you're old, so you need some money to be coming in every month. One of the places you can also look at is, of course, annuities and the income drawdowns. Of course, when you're done now with this phase, you're now in your 70s. Our life expectancy plan is about 86 currently. So if you go beyond 70s, at that point, you're no longer maybe investing, you're just retaining what it is that you had invested through the years, and you're able to move. So the reason we decided to have this particular episode is that sometimes we want to jump the phases where we are at. You realize that someone will come and tell you to buy an income drawdown, and you're 32 years old. Why are you buying an income drawdown? Why are you investing into something that is for someone who is in the accumulation phase? So it's very important for you as an investor to know that when you're choosing out an investment plan, or you're choosing out an investment area or industry, it resonates with the phase of the phase you're at as an investor. That is very important. Oftentimes, what may appear as a low returns for you as an investor, it's because that product is maybe not meant for you. It's supposed to be into a high-paced industry. So thank you so much for being with us today on this episode of Pesa Talk. We just wanted to delve into structurally what phases are there for you to look at as an investor, what you need to consider in terms of when you choose to invest in the different phases of life. So from me and the team at Vadi Media that are in charge of making sure that this episode comes to you live and direct, we want to say thank you for being good viewers. Please make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow, you like, you share this with your family and friends. Our aspiration here at Pesa Talk is to ensure that we are able to change the life of the people around us financially, to make everyone a little bit financially independent. So until next time, thank you. So at the 15th,